Thank you for tuning in to Global Elite Media. This is the Patricia Show. Let's talk. So I just made a video explaining to you all why I had not been on the air, and so I want to finish this because I want to bring that up again because I want to ask you a question. Now, when I was in this, if you listen to the other video, I didn't go into details what happened, but what I did say is that the hospital had told my sister. My sister lives in Arizona, so she was on her way to where I live because I was in critical condition in ICU. My heart went into heart septic shock. So they told my sister that I would not make it. My sister medically put standing. They told her medically she is not going to make it. So my sister called all my friends. I have friends in Jamaica and other places. And she called everybody and had them, and as well as the people in the U.S. She had everybody going into prayer for me. I remember the nurse coming in there telling me, your sister wants you to go into prayer at 9 o'clock. Now I'm in ICU, so I'm hearing it, but obviously, obviously I can't do anything like that. But she just wanted me to kind of concentrate with them, which I was not able to do. But anyway, she had them going in at 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. She had them going. Everybody went into prayer the exact same time. So clearly, I came out of this situation. The doctors were, I was saved. That's all I know is I was saved. So now, was I saved because it wasn't meant for me to go, or was I saved because they all had band together to pray for me, and the prayer intervened to stop me from, giving me more time to be here? I want you to think about that. There was research done, several years ago. It was actually a long time ago. And they had did this research. They had somebody pray for one group of people who were in the hospital in critical condition. And then the other group of people they did not pray for that was in critical condition. The people who they did not pray for it deteriorated. They weren't doing well at all. But the people that they had go into prayer, the group that went into prayer, they went into prayer the same time. Like my sister had told people to go in the same time and everybody going to pray at once. Those people received miraculous healing. And that was the research they had done. So clearly, when you band together and it's more than one, I think that says that in the Bible. When you want something, if you go in with someone else, it just makes the prayer even stronger. So if you're going in with a lot of people all over, and you all going in at the same time, it's going to make that prayer, oh my God, like 100, a million times more stronger. So that is something to really think about, because not everybody believes in prayer. Some people believe in prayer. Some people don't believe in prayer. I have a medical, I'm in the medical field, so my spiritual mind is always open, but it's a little bit of that medical there. So when you do a research, I mean, that really kind of gets my attention. So when they did the research on prayer, I'm thinking, hey, it must really be something to this. And then clearly, and so when I came out of my condition, my friends and my sister was saying it was a miracle, because the doctors had told her that I was not going to make it. Everybody who did that prayer for me was just constantly saying this was definitely a miracle. Now, as I was laying there, I have to agree with them, because I was having crazy dreams when I was there. I could hear I could hear the people. The lady was down the hall. I mean, like several halls and around the corner, and I could hear what she was saying in her mind. It's like I was sitting there reading people's mind, and I began to think to myself, oh, they said that your hearing is the last thing to go. So I was thinking like, hey, I must be dying. And I'm getting all these people thoughts. So I felt I was really, really close to death. This is the second time that I've had this cardiac septic shock. I had it again in 2008. And at that time, the doctors told me that they didn't think I would live either, but I made it out. But I have to say that this one, I really felt I was closer to death. The first one, I never felt in 2008, I never felt that I was really going to die at that time. Even though the doctors were saying I was, I never did really feel like I was. But this time, I really, really felt like I was. There were times that I would lay there and I would be thinking like, and they had me on pain medication, so I was, really out of it thinking that. But there was times that I would think, if my sister wasn't here, if my sister didn't make it, like I would think like if my sister don't make it by tomorrow, this is what I was thinking. I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna be gone. Would have made the transformation. And then there were times where I was sitting there thinking, oh, I'm not going nowhere. You know what I mean? I'm going to stay on this earth. So it was like that. But I can honestly say that this time, I really did feel like I feel like I was so close to death. Even thinking about it now, I just feel like I want to cry. Because I remember thinking to myself as I was laying there, please don't let me see anybody that had passed on. Like my mother is not here, my grandmother, somebody like that. Because if I had saw them, I just would have known that I was gonna go. Because I worked hospice 2 years as a nurse. Before you before you leave this earth, people always see their loved ones. And those loved ones come to help you make the transition. I haven't had not one patient in hospice that didn't see a relative. Now, I didn't know they were relatives. They would just say, oh, hey, Betty, how you doing? Like that. And then I would ask the family, they say, oh, Betty, that's my grandmother who died or whoever. And they be coming to help them with the transaction. Just like on the other on the other video, I was telling you that my grandfather had in fact came to my grandmother in a dream. Well, he was also there, and 2 weeks later she died to show her where she was going. So he actually had came to my grandmother to help her make her transition. This just happens to people who are gonna pass. So anyway, I was thinking that I didn't want to see that, because if I had saw that laying there, and I would have known for sure that I was going to pass on. So it was a really trying experience. I don't want to say trying, but it was really something. So I wanted to. So one more thing. So my sister was saying, she was telling when the doctor told her that medically I wasn't going to make it. My sister said, "But you don't have the last word, and God has the last word." So I guess the doctor said, yes, that's why he said medically that that I would not make it medically, but if there was something else that I would. And in fact, I did. Now, spiritually, I know that I didn't go because my work is not complete. Clearly, that's why I didn't go. When people leave this planet, it's because whatever you have set for yourself is complete and it's time for you to go. So if they didn't leave, it's because their mission or whatever it is they came here for is not complete. And if it's not a mission, it could just be their karmas or whatever it is. It's not complete, and that's why they're here. Now, I want to make a spiritual exception for that. If you are a highly evolved spiritual person, you understand that there's different, let me see how I can put this. There's different, okay, I'm just going to hypothetically say this like this. Say you're supposed to exit this world on April the 15th, but you're asking for grace. Because this has happened, and I know a spiritual person this has happened to. You ask for grace. You want to be around a little bit longer. That grace could be granted to you. and you could be around a little bit longer. So if your date to leave is April the 15th, but you're asking for grace, you might be here longer. And there's nothing you need to do. There's no mission or anything like that. You just simply are giving grace to be able to stay here a little longer. I think the person that I'm thinking about, I can't pronounce his name, is Yoga. Oh my goodness. No, I'm only going to put his name in the notes and you all can look it up. He was giving a grace. And so I think he was here maybe 30 days or maybe between 30 and 90 days longer. So he wasn't here because he had a mission to complete. He was here longer because he asked to be here longer. And that was the grace he was given. So that is an exception if you are a highly evolved spiritual being. But normally, or on the, you know, normal side, is that when you leave this planet, it is because whatever you set for yourself when you came here, it is complete. You are finished with this life. Now it's time to exit. And so then you go and then you'll start on your next life. Okay? Because you can look this back up on one of my recordings to see about the wheel of reincarnation, because I don't want to go through that and explain reincarnation all over again. But I'll just briefly say that if you're here on Earth, you're on the wheel of reincarnation. And you won't get off that wheel until all the karmas that you have created on this planet is over, done, and complete. And then you get off the wheel of reincarnation, and you no longer have to come to Earth anymore. There are other places in the universe that you can choose to incarnate at, but not on Earth once you're off the wheel of reincarnation. Okay, so some people, when you leave this planet, you might not even want to come right back in reincarnation. You might be tired. Like, for instance, let's say somebody who was really sick. I mean, they just had a hard time on this earth being sick. Whether it's mental sick or physical sick, they just really had a hard time. Or a drug addict, somebody who's been on drugs. They're tired. So once they make their transformation, they ain't trying to come back here right away. They might go to sleep or rest or whatever they do before they choose to get another body and come back. Okay? I had a friend when I was younger. She was very clairvoyant. And one day she had this, I don't even know, this was definitely a vision because she stepped outside of her body. And she could really see, she was at this place where she didn't know. And she seen people, but spirits, but she seen people, but she was walking through them. She said they were walking down the street. And she was like, when she would pass them, she would just literally walk through them. So we knew she was where you go when you die, when you make your transformation. And she was saying that when she went to another area, people were asleep. They were just laying there asleep. Some angel of some sort or something came and told her, those people were the people who believed in had been taught the resurrection in life. They believed it was going to be a resurrection. And it was difficult to wake them up because this was their belief. And then I think she's seen another group of people sleep, and they were telling her that these were people who just wanted to rest after having a difficult lifetime. So this is why I say you should always search for knowledge, because there's just a lot of things happening or happens with us. We don't even know what's going on. We barely know what's going on here in our own life, let alone when you pass on. But people, you should wake up and start questioning things and try to understand why you're here. What is the purpose that you're here? Why do you pass? Don't just take my word for it. Why are we here? Why do we pass? What is dying? You need to ask these questions because these are things that they need to be teaching at the church. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Patricia Show. Let's talk. Have a good week.